All right, guys, so I'm ready to do the center marks and dimensions on the template drawing. You notice I did one center line already. Before you do that, though, make sure you've gone over the part in gold pencil, which I've already done. So I did the gold pencil, all the circles, curves, because that's the next thing you want to do after you finish the part. Clean it up, go over with gold pencil. Center lines, you can see I just did one so far. This one, I have a couple center marks I put in there. Just be consistent. If you put the center mark here, that's fine. Then put it on that side as well. Don't connect to the center marks. Leave a little space around the cross. All right. So if I was doing, say, this vertical one, I'm starting a 1/2 inch outside. I'm going to draw a line down. I'm using blue pencil. I'll put a center mark right here. Again, don't connect to the center mark. I'll do this one going down. So I'll start about right here. Maybe I'll put a center mark right there. Okay, so there's not an exact spot where you need to put the center mark. Just make sure you have one in there, somewhere in this area. I put one down here. I put one here and there. You also need to put some smaller center marks on these other circles, like going up and down here, left and right here, left and right there. So like, for instance, this one, I'll go just a little bit down, like about a 1/2 inch, and then just a little bit up, kind of like that. Okay, same thing on this side. Okay, so those are smaller. This one I need to go left and right. So again, don't connect to the center mark. Go about a 1/2 inch outside. Kind of like that. And this one up here. Let's see, I'll go about a 1/2 inch out here. And maybe here I'll put a center mark right there in the middle. Okay, so something kind of like that. And actually this one too, I also need to do the vertical one. Try to line it up with that one. Okay, something like that is what we're looking for. So we have our center marks on there now. Once you get the center marks on, we're ready to dimension this. I'm going to start with the dimensions on the top. Now here we have 3 lines of dimensions: the 7/8, 1 1/4, 1 3/4, 1 1/4, and then 5 1/2. So you need to space those 3/8 for each one. So we're going to start with the 7/8. We go 3/8 away, then another 3/8, and then another 3/8. So they're kind of stacked on top of each other. So if I'm doing the 7/8 one, that's going to be right in this space here. 3/8 is a grid and a half. So I go up one grid, half of the next, and I draw my dimension line in, leaving a little space in the middle. And then I could write my dimension in there, 7/8, and then I draw an arrow on each side. Now notice I didn't need to put the extension line in because the center line kind of took care of that for me. So I already had the center line in there. So it's a center line that kind of blends right into an extension line. Okay, for the next line, the 1 1/4, 1 3/4, and the other 1 1/4, we're going to go up another 3/8 of an inch. So that's half and then up to here. So I'm going to be here. Now for this one, I need to start the dimension line where this center line would come up. So right here. And I'm going to leave a space roughly right there. Leave a space in the middle for the 1 3/4 dimension. And then maybe a space right about there. And if you don't get the spaces completely right, we can always fix them later. But see, notice how I have 3 openings. So I kind of did one long dimension line for all 3 of these, leaving an opening for each number. Now here I do need to put the extension line. So I'm going to connect the extension line to this center line on the left side. And go a little bit past. Now here we don't need to leave a space because there's no corner here and there's no part. If I was bringing the extension line from here, I would need to leave a little space. But since here I'm just connecting to a center line, that's okay. It just goes right up, but still leave the little space at the end. This one I need to go up just a little bit. To about right there. This one, same thing, just a little bit up. And then this one comes up from this center line. And again, I went just a little bit past. So now I can write my dimensions in there. This one should say 1 1/4 inches, 1 3/4 inches, 1 1/4. And again, arrows. So we're going to put the arrows in. Again, take your time, make sure you're doing a good job. All right, so that's that line. And now I got one more, the 5 1/2 dimension. Now the 5 1/2 is going to be from the left edge to the right edge of the part. So first I'm going to start with the dimension line. I'm going up 3/8 of an inch. So that's another grid and then half of the next one. So I got to make sure I know where to start it. It would be right here. And I'm going to leave a space roughly in the middle and end it there. So there's my dimension line. Now here I got to draw the extension line up from the corner. Again, don't connect to the corner. Leave a little bit of space. And then draw it up. Add that space to the end. Same thing here. Don't connect to the corner. Leave a little bit of space. And you add the space to the end. So those are my extension lines coming up from the part. And this should say 5 1/2. And again, 2 arrows. One on each side. Okay, so that's that top row of dimensions. Same thing on this side. You would go off 3/8, 3/8 for those 2 1/2 or 2 1/8 dimensions, and then another 3/8 for the 4 7/8. This one here, this 1 1/2 or inch and then 1/2 inch, there's not a lot of room there. So I don't really have, it's going to be a really small dimension line, right, 1/2 inch. And you notice that the arrows are actually on the outside of the part. That's okay or outside of the space, just because that's such a small dimension. There's really not a lot of room in there to put the arrow on the inside. So in that case, you can put them on the outside. So that's the 1/2 inch dimension. And then the 1 inch would go right here. So that's my dimension line. Extension line comes from the part. Don't connect to the corner. Again, leave a little space. This one I can just add onto that one. 1 inch. Arrow there. Arrow there with the 1 inch measurement. Again, leaving a space on the corner. The radius dimensions, like I have the 1 1/4 inch. This one I'm going to go roughly at a 45-degree angle. Go up, and I'm going to leave a space here and go to about right there. Write the dimension in there. 1 1/4 inch radius. Now, for the arrows, whenever you're doing a leader, this is considered a leader for a curve or a circle, you only need the arrow on one side. The side that is touching or pointing to the curve or the circle. So I don't need another arrow on the other side. If I'm doing this 5/8 drill, 5 holes, again, I want to go roughly at a 45-degree angle out. I'll go a little bit over to the right. And now I can write my dimension. It should say 5/8 drill, which drill means diameter, and then 5 holes, which tells me all 5 of those holes are the same. And again, we only need one arrow pointing to the circle. There's also a leader line up here. This one, be careful. Mistake I see people making here. I'm going to start at the center mark, go out, go over. It's 5/8 radius. Now be careful where you put the arrow. Some people, they'll have the arrow pointing to the circle, but the 5/8 radius is for the curve. So make sure the arrow is pointing to the curve, not the circle. There's the 2 1/2 one here in the middle. That one's pretty easy to do. A line all the way across, leave a space. I'm going to write 2 1/2. arrow on each side. I'll do the 45-degree angle one next. So now for the 45-degree angle one, I'm going to go out. I'm going to draw this extension line out. Let's go to about there is close enough. I'm actually going to use a circle template now. Again, we kind of did this on another drawing. Yeah, I'll just use this 2.5 template. Looks pretty good. I'm going to draw the curve, leave a space in the middle, just like that. And then I can write 45 degrees, arrow here, arrow there. Again, I left a space at the corner, and I added the space to the end. Now, I will have some more dimensions on this side, as you can see. So this extension line will actually keep going a little bit further, as you can see here for the 4 7/8 measurement. But when you're done, it should look, here's another student's drawing, it should look something like this. Okay, so again, take your time, do a nice job, and that completes the template drawing.